everyone, welcome to Restorative Yoga with Mel. I'm Mel, and today's sequence is going to explore how we can use restorative yoga just to bring us back down to earth. So it's really easy to get stuck in the mind, to find our thoughts dashing into the future and ruminating back onto the past. And sometimes we need just a yoga practice. It helps just bring all of that energy back down towards the earth and to bring us back down in towards our bodies. So I'm going to be using this yoga chair for this practice. If you've got a yoga chair, that's great. If you don't have a yoga chair, then you might find that you can improvise with another sort of chair. Ideally, you need something that doesn't have a back to it, or just some form of footstool that is more or less this height. So give it a go and improvise with what you can find at home. It's amazing how creative you can get when you need to be. As usual, I've also got a nice supply of blankets nearby. These are just to make sure that I'm really comfortable and warm in the postures. And you might like an eye pillow as well to place over your eyes once you're lying down. If you don't have an eye pillow, then feel free just to use something soft like a clean sock or a scarf, whatever you've got available to you. Finally, you'll also need to take a bolster. So if you don't have a bolster, use a firm pillow or cushion, and we'll set up by putting a blanket on top of our yoga mat. If you're not using a yoga mat, that's fine. You still might like to lie onto a blanket or something really that just makes sure that you're lying on something soft and warm. And we're also going to take a folded blanket and use it as a pillow. So how thick you fold your blanket as a pillow is up to you. It depends a little bit on how stiff the back of the neck is. If you know the back of the neck is quite stiff, then you need to fold this quite thick. And if it's less stiff, then you have it a little bit more open. You can usually figure that out for yourself once you're actually in the posture. If you've got a cushion or a pillow that you want to use instead, then you, by all means, use that. So if you are using a metal chair, like the one I've got here, having a blanket over the top of the chair will just help it to stay nice and warm for when you put your legs on it shortly. So we're going to always make sure you've got the chair or the stool, whatever you're using, is against something that isn't going to slip too much. And then take your bolster or your pillow and put it about a hand's width between the chair leg and the bolster, just more or less. It will depend a little bit on what your equipment you're using, how long your legs are, etc. But about a hand's width is a good estimation. And then to come into this position, you start by sitting onto the edge of the bolster, and then make sure you're using your arms to support yourself as you wiggle around and place one leg and then two legs onto the seat of the chair, and then lower all the way down onto your back. So you need to be fairly confident that you can lower yourself down and back without just falling backwards. So if you're not that confident, try with something less high, so like a flatter pillow or a folded blanket beneath you. So as you come into the position, if you need to adjust where the bolster is, you just bend up your knees, press down your feet, lift your hips, and then if you need to roll it up or down, you can, so that it's just across the back of your pelvis. And then you can lengthen your legs out again. Your arms can rest down by your side, you can rest them on your ribs, you can rest them on the bolster, whatever's comfortable. And if you want to pop your eye pillow on, feel free to do so. So this is the first position that we're going to explore. And if anyone is more than 3 months pregnant, I wouldn't really recommend doing this, but there is a way you can practice it, which is slightly different with the bolster. So I'm just going to show this for you now. And this variation is suitable for the first 3 months of pregnancy, but also just suitable for anyone if you ever want to try a different way with the bolster. So what we would do is we would come off the bolster and take the bolster the other way, so it's now long ways underneath the chair, or partly underneath the chair. So I'm just showing you this as a second option, so if you come to practice this video again and you want to do it slightly differently, you can explore it this way. So again, legs on the chair seat, and you're lowering yourself all the way back down. Now the bolster wants to be in between the shoulder blades, so it's currently not in the right position for me. So again, to move the bolster, I place my feet on the edge of the chair and I press down my feet, and by pressing down my feet I engage the muscles of my legs, and my legs are helping me lift up. I can move that bolster higher, and then I can bring my legs back down and then rest my arms out. So it's just a slightly different variation. This variation offers a lot of support for the spine, and some people prefer it and find it more comfortable, particularly in pregnancy. So whichever variation you're taking today, take a moment just to notice this length through the whole front of your torso, from your throat to your pubis bone at the front of the pelvis. So there's length for the abdomen, but also space for the chest. This is a nice way to open the front of the body. It allows us to breathe more deeply. And by lifting the pelvis higher than the heart, we encourage the flow of the blood back down towards the heart, so it's good for the circulation. We also exercise the diaphragm muscle, which is within this rib cage. And so we are really restoring the energy, creating more space for the breath and giving the heart a little bit more support. And as with all the postures, it's really up to you how long you spend in them. You might think 2 minutes is enough here. You might prefer something more like 12 minutes. We're doing approximately 10 minutes in this posture today, but you can always fast forward a little bit or press pause if you need to. You're always listening to your body, and remember that the idea in restorative yoga is that we're trying to soften. This isn't about stretching, this isn't about pushing really hard. It's actually about a deep relaxation and letting go of stress and tension and worry. Of course, if you know you're a little bit tense around the shoulders, such a common area to hold tension. I know I can get really sore in the shoulders sometimes. If you are a bit tense there, then this can be quite a strong opening for the chest and shoulder area. So again, if at any point you're ready to come out, then you can take your time and come out. so the way that you come out of this posture, and you don't have to do this immediately, but I will share with you now how to do this. Just as we did earlier, we are bending the knees, placing the feet on the edge of the chair, and then importance that you press your feet down. So this means that you're using your leg muscles and not your back muscles. So you press your feet down, and then you need to move the bolster to the side. Don't push it towards the chair because it will get stuck, especially if you're not using a chair. Then you need to be mindful of that. And then you place your legs back onto the chair seat. So you want your knees to be all the way at the edge of the chair seat, and you might find that you need to wiggle yourself a little bit closer to the chair. So if you do wiggle yourself closer to the chair, make sure that you then take a moment to tuck your shoulder blades under, and then again, feet on the edge of the chair, lift your bottom up and lengthen your tailbone towards your heels as you lower your bottom back down, and that will stop any tension or compression creeping into the lower back. So we're in the same position but without the bolster. This is now going to help your spine realign back into a more neutral position. This is very restful for your legs. And because this video is called Down to Earth, if you really want to feel that grounded feeling, if you've been up in your head all day, then you can take your bolster and place it just over your lower abdomen so that you've got a little bit of weight there. And it can be over the lower abdomen, but it can also come slightly higher, just on your rib cage. So you can explore the exact position. Arms down by the side, palms facing up. So it can feel a little bit intense to have the bolster on the rib cage, but it's really good exercise for your diaphragm muscle. So particularly if your breath is a bit shallow or a bit frozen, or you just feel very disconnected with your breath, so you're not really sure how your breath is, then putting this bolster here will make your diaphragm muscle work, and it will help you to find a more, what's called the natural breath. And that is in part demonstrated by the movement of the belly. So that as you breathe in, your belly goes up towards the ceiling, and as you breathe out, your belly goes down towards your spine. And the reason that your belly moves in this direction is because you're breathing with your diaphragm muscle. It's a really healthy way to breathe. So you might like to give this a go. You can always just practice this posture on its own if you just want to work with your breath. Again, you can have it slightly lowered down so it's more on the belly, so that won't be working with your breath in the same way, but it does give you that energetic feeling of sinking and being pulled down towards the earth. But if you find this with the bolster too intense, you're just not enjoying it, of course, just take it off, put it to the side, and then just stay on your back like this, so it's completely up to you. I quite enjoy it, so I'm going to pop it back on for the remainder of time that we have here. Remember, you've got your eye pillow there if you want to use it. And then there's just that feeling of the whole back of the body releasing down towards the mat. The shoulders beginning to soften. Perhaps perhaps imagining your tongue shrinking inside of the mouth and feeling your eyes dropping towards the back of your head. Allowing any sounds around you to come and go. Including the sound of your breath. Noticing the temperature of the air against your skin. And the feeling of the eye pillow, or the blankets, or your clothing. And enjoying this time where you can literally just put your feet up. And again, you can stay here for as long as you like, as long as you're comfortable. And just feeling that you're being supported. Take a moment to notice the support of the floor beneath you, the support of the equipment that you're using, of the space that you're in this virtual space. You're practicing this yoga video with me and many other people. And then when you do feel ready to move, of course if you're using the bolster, just take that off to the side. You might have your hands just on your belly for a moment or two, just to feel the change in your breath. And bringing your legs in off the chair, rolling carefully to the side. Spend a moment or two on your side. That feels good. And then use your arms to come all the way up to sitting. And just sit comfortably. Try not to rush about for the rest of the day. And we'll finish our practice there. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.